That's what the Democrats call us. Here in New Hampshire, we opine on all things political, and we do a lot of citizen journalism by going to a lot of events and live streaming them, recording them, then putting them up so that people can make their own decisions based on what they see, without the filter of me or anyone else.
And what would you say your association with Tea Party activists and people are in New Hampshire?
Well, GraniteGrok was one of the co-founding members of the New Hampshire Tea Party Coalition, and early on we did a lot of work trying to do a lot of setup of events and things like that. We have since left the group because they wanted to stay in the educational type of framework, whereas we are political activists and we wanted to get out and basically help other politicians or candidates, which the rest of the Tea Party Coalition decided that was not their forte.
I see a reflection on his glasses from the light. Are you seeing that on the tape?
Yeah, I can see that. I was gonna ask him, is it okay to take glasses off? Do you have a problem with that?
I can't see without them. Debbie?
It's gonna be there because of light.
Okay.
Want to try my other glasses? Could you get my other glasses off the
What difference does
desk?
it make which glasses?
They're smaller, they may glare less.
And sometimes he has a
And
point.
different tinting.
I just don't want you to see this afterwards and go, why didn't they tell me?
I was noticing that before he started. I was gonna say something, but sometimes you ask him, maybe you can't see with the glasses.
Yeah, at that point, I'm swimming towards the white light.
Right, exactly.
Better or worse?
Can you just look right at Lauren?
What
Can
happens
you
if you
look that way? Actually, that's better.
If I sit over here?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a little better.
Move the chair around?
That's what the chair over there.
Okay.
That works-
There we
that
go.
works better.
Hopefully my big head won't be in your way.
Actually, then Debbie, you might want to swing over
No,
there.
it's actually better.
Okay, because we want them in the shot.
Well, you've got her in the camera.
That works.
There you go.
Before you
Okay.
just had the camera.
Okay.
Good, good.
Everyone good? Okay, fantastic. All right, and so you watch Dancing with the Stars in your household,
We do.
and what have you been thinking as you've been watching it?
Certainly it takes an awful lot of athletic ability to do this, and a lot from the folks who aren't ordinarily in the spotlight to be able to get up and do this kind of thing. It really is rather embarrassing right about now. You can edit this out.
Yeah.
There we go. For people who are not used to the spotlight, it must be something to have all of your flaws displayed to millions of people all at once.
I'm just gonna have you go like this over your other go. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. And I understand that your wife is a big fan of the show.
She is indeed.
And so, what have you been thinking about, given that it's down to the last three and Bristol Palin is still in it?
Well, knowing that you asked about the Tea Party connection, and that certainly Sarah Palin is one of those who is a big fan of, and a supporter of Tea Party type principles, and the reverse is also true. A lot of people in the Tea Party movement do like what she stands for. It's been rather interesting to see how the voting has gone, where from a purely dancing standpoint, and frankly, I barely have 2 left feet here, it's very strange to see how far up she's gone to get to the finals. Anyone else probably would have been voted out long ago, and it was very strange to see people who technically are much better dancers be left by the wayside.
Do you think that there's a connection there, or do you think it has more to do with her overall popularity?
I think she probably has some popularity on her own. Again, I'm not a big follower of Bristol at all. I think she's a plucky young lady who's trying to make best of some bad decisions that were made on her part. But I do believe that part of this may well be because of her mom and her interaction in the political sphere.
Now, what has been sort of transpiring as you've been bringing this up on GraniteGrok?
Well, to be perfectly honest, we haven't blogged about this at all. This is just not something that is Tea Party type of stuff. This is just pure entertainment, versus the Tea Party is, I think they're looking for serious stuff such as fiscal sanity, adherence to constitutional values, and just trying to get people to understand government cannot be all things to all people all the time.
Is it offensive to broadly brush the Tea Party as maybe a group of radicals, or to say that it's the Tea Partiers that are influencing the vote on Dancing with the Stars?
Well, you ask a two-point question. Let me address the first point in order, which is, if standing on the Constitution, the actual words and the original meaning of the Constitution, by all means, I am your radical. I know what the values are that I stand for, and it is with those that the Founding Fathers, our Founding Fathers, fought and died for and gave up their honor and their lives and their fortunes for. And I hardly think that nowadays being a radical in that same vein really is such a radical idea. Back then, historically, it was a radical idea, that each man is sovereign in their own right, with rights derived from our Creator. Nowadays, not so much. Or does that show how far we've drifted from our foundational principles? As far as Bristol Palin is concerned, I bet most Tea Party folks couldn't care less, to be honest with you. It really plays no role in what I think the Tea Party does politically. I think it's just an afterthought for many, unless you happen to be a fan of reality programs and dancing in particular. You know, I watch it and I go, that's nice, but I think other people may or should have been there.
And I was speaking with somebody earlier today who is a social psychologist with an expertise in political behavior, and she pointed out that Sarah Palin's got her own TV show. She's got her own following for her charisma outside of her political ideals, and if there's any sort of play, that maybe that's what it is.
Well, I go back to what a lot of people said after the election, that she was a washed-up politician, and yet her original observation on Facebook certainly took the nation by storm, and she has been able to use the new media unlike any other politician before her, including Barack Obama, although he was trend-setting in his own way during his presidential campaign. For somebody who is so reviled, so washed up, she certainly gets a lot of press and a lot of attention, and is able to bring an awful lot to the fore.
And briefly, what do you think about the notion that has been put out there? And I do understand that there was a conservative writer who tweeted something about, you have to vote for Bristol Palin because she's our gal. Do you think this sort of ran away down the wrong road?
Oh, I think the whole idea is pretty much nonsense. This has nothing to do with politics, and any attempt to try to conflate the two is just purely absurd, as far as I'm concerned. Sometimes we make too much of politics, and too much of what everyday life is, and sometimes people like to be able to make a name for themselves by putting one into the other sphere, which I think is kind of wrong-headed.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I just consider this whole idea rather nonsensical, to be honest with you. But, you know, the one thing I have to say is that her mom, Sarah Palin, has certainly brought a lot of things to the table on the political arena. Whether you like it or not, it certainly has enlivened the debate, and we at GraniteGrok love to be able to say that the problem is not less speech, but rather it should be always more speech.
Bringing things to the political table, but not the dance floor.
Not this time.
And just real quick, as somebody who watches the show, to support your wife, who's your pick?
Who's my pick? I would have said the person who was let go last night. She was certainly one of them. Okay, I'm horrible at names.
Brandy.
Brandy, but Adriana Partridge, the model,
Okay.
was also very good, and she was let go rather early. But there we go. It's not just all about the dance. It's all about your support, folks. Who is behind you in the popularity count?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hang there, cut away shots. Who do you think's gonna win?
Jennifer Gray.
Yeah, I think so too. Nobody puts baby in the corner.